Over the last couple of years, I have been editing quite a bit of copy and content. For clients, managing teams of up to 6 writers, helping out with the content and copy sort of direction, the overall strategy for promotions, editing, of course, and then publication schedules. It's not important that you know what I've been doing with my time. What is important is that I've managed to, through this, I've managed to see a lot of copy. Some good, some bad. Most good is what I should say. I've been very fortunate to work with some very talented and skilled writers. But the pieces that aren't so good generally, they've lots of different things that sometimes are just slightly low of the mark. But one of the most common problems is a lack of focus. When you have a headline that promises A, the article should deliver A. A lot of the time I see an article that is completely different to what the headline promises, it's just immediately going to lose my interest. Or there's like 70% which is focused, 30% which is off on something else. But it kind of takes you, when you're reading, it takes you out of that narrative progression, and it makes you think, what the fuck? It's just not good. The articles that I've written that rank number one on Google, I have a couple up there. Not loads and loads and loads, but I've got more than one or two. I've got quite a decent amount that rank number one for quite competitive terms. These articles still rank highly, despite being quite old, some of them. Still provide tangible business benefits for either myself, my former clients, or my current clients. And they will have one thing in common, is that they are laser focused on one topic. Oh, got an itchy leg. Laser focused on one topic. And that's one of the key things to writing better copy. When you can really focus in on one message, everything becomes much easier. You write faster, you write better. The overall quality of the end piece is much higher. So what I'm going to go through today is an article plan that I used to use religiously. This is how I used to plan out all of my content, and it helped me get some of those number one rankings. It's also something that I've given to some of my writers. It's something that I have available in my course, setting it out for free here with a little bit of a demonstration of how to use it. Now, I say I used to use it religiously. The reason I don't use it so much anymore is because after a while, you sort of internalize a lot of it. And there are still bits of this that I use every time that I write something. But sometimes some of it, you sort of just do a second nature. But that's not important. What is important is that we get to sharing my screen. So I'm going to quickly go through, let's share the screen actually. There we go. I'm going to quickly go through what it looks like and what I recommend that you should use as the actual template, downloadable thing. If you do want this as a download, all you've got to do is click the link in the description and you'll get access to the big folder that has all of these video downloads in. Oh, better. The big folder that has all the video downloads in. It's got annotations, teardowns, all sorts. Original written stuff. Nice visual things that I draw on my iPad, even though I'm not a very good artist. But anyway, back to the point. This you will be able to get in there. So let's move that out that way. So at the top here, it's just this section here is really what you do prior to anything else. It is to before you really put pen to paper. So if you've got any research that will help inform you as to the topic or that you want to reference later on, put it in here. Just put the links in. Drop them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 links. Then it's all in one document. I tend to write in Scrivener, but yeah, pop them all up in here. Then you don't have to keep flipping back and forward between different things to find the links. If you want, you can put a little message on them as well. The core message, this is super important. What's the one primary message that you're trying to communicate with this piece of copy? What is it that you want people to walk away from knowing, being better at, whatever? Try and keep it short, a very short sentence. Just really focus on what it is that you want to communicate. 3 potential blog titles. Before you start writing, just write down one that's a promise of that core message to help you stay focused. When you finish the piece, you can go back and write 2 or 3 different ones because you'll have a better understanding of what might work. But the potential, you need one at least for a working title. So yeah, core message, super important. Working blog title, super important. Get those out of the way, because that's what's going to guide everything else that you do. You want the core message to be something that is both describes what you want to do and what the benefit of doing it is, what the benefit of that message is. Don't worry, there's a real example below all of this. The goal, what metric are you trying to improve? Are you trying to get new signups for an email list? Are you trying to sell a product? Whatever. Click-throughs from one post to another post, like traffic shaping. God, I'm a thirsty boy. Ugh. And then it gets onto the post outline. So here I have just outlined what should be included in each section. So the introduction should really grab attention. The CDS formula video, which is on the channel as well, talks about calling out the reader, describing the problem, and then demonstrating the solution. I've put this bit in here, study link here. So any of these links that you wanted to reference, when you're planning it out, you might just want to drop it in there. Setup section, this is optional. If you're doing something like a top 10 tools for structuring your blog articles, sometimes the setup section's not really necessary. So you might just want to get straight into those tools after a short introduction. And then it's the main body. Main body, you'll go into detail on what you want to say. This is where you communicate those key points. Subheading 1, subheading 2, subheading 3, objection and question. So the objection and the questions are linked to the subheading. I put them in because I find that they help me stay focused. Because sometimes the subheads you can kind of think, well, it's kind of like that. But if you know the question that people are asking or the objection that they have, you've got then the other side of it. So it's like, am I addressing this question or objection in these points? I know that this probably all makes very little sense because it's far too vague. But let's go down and see a real life example. Bear in mind, this example was created specifically for this video. It's not a real blog article example. It's just to show you how to use this template. Summarize and ask for the users, actually. Yeah. Example, post research. So if you have any articles, any studies or anything that you want to link to and reference in there, you can put them on there. You might want to put afterwards like, this is, or, X% of people do Y, just so that you know what that link, which statistic in that link or whatever you want to reference. The core message, short description of what the post will cover. God, that rain is noisy. Welcome to England. How to structure your blog post so they rank number 1 on Google. So like I said, that's what you're communicating. This is the benefit. Everyone wants to rank number 1, right? 3 potential blog titles. I have popped 3 in. They're not particularly good, but they're good working titles. The goal, what metric? Time on site and bounce rate. So I want to increase time on site, reduce bounce rate. Same, similar, not the same, but. So then what I do is, the start of this, I will put the main title or the main core message as a heading 1. There you go, H1. The intro then is right below. Call out the reader, freelance writers who want to do a better job. The core problem, writing articles that are forever lost on Google. Core solution, better structure of articles. This one has went under writer's control and has helped me rank number 1 to number 5 for multiple pieces. Yeah, I've got a lot of first page pieces. God, that rain. Here's why structure is important. Mention it's often overlooked. So that's what I'm going to write for the introduction. I've got everything that I need to say there. All I'm going to do is pretty it up. This is the important bit though. So we're going to go through the subheads first. Once you've done the headline, you're going to bang out all of the subheads. So the setup section. So I'm going to delete that for the minute, the actual message there. Why you need to focus on structure. So that's the setup section. Bing, bang, bang. Then I'm going to go down to the subheads in the main body. Headlines. These are terrible. So headlines help your overall articles stay focused. Then you need to your subheads, which is exactly the stage that we're on now. The plan here is very much related to the video. Double check subheads against headlines. Headline / core message. Points under subheads need to conform to subheads. Power words and how they help you with make an impression. Okay, so I just would have written out those subheads. And so now we have the core message, which is how to rank, how to structure articles to get a better chance of ranking number 1 on Google. And we have all of the subheads. That's all we've written out at this point, is the headline or the core message of the article and the subheads that we're going to cover. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the document outline and example, how to structure your blog post to rank number 1 on Google, why you need to focus on structure. Now, is that related to the headline? This is what we're doing now, is we're checking that the subheads are really focused and very much related to the headline. Because if they're not, then we've got to change them and they've got to go. Why you need to focus on structure, how to structure your blog post so they rank number 1 on Google. That is highly related. It's kind of setting things up to explain to people why structure is important and how structure would be very sort of relevant in terms of user engagement. Get the structure wrong, people won't enjoy reading it, they will click away, which then tells Google it's a low quality article. Done. Then we go down to the main body. Headlines help your overall article stay focused. Okay. Map out and organize your subheads. Is it related to structure? For number, yeah. Double check subheads against headlines. Yeah, that's still related. Points under the subheads need to conform to the subhead aim. Yeah, we'll get onto that in a sec. Power words and how they help you make an impression. Is that related to structure of blog posts? No, it's not. So we're going to find it and we can do two things with it. We can either just flat out delete it, which it has to be deleted from this piece. But that on its own might be an article of its own. Do you know what I mean? You can turn that into a different article somewhere else. So save that somewhere. But yeah, it's not related to structure. So this document outline on the left will give you a good overview, and you can check whether all of your subheads are related to that core message. Once you're happy and you think that they are related to the core message, you go back to the subheads. I always write the introduction first and then again last because it's the most difficult thing. All right, so what's the objection or question why you need to focus on structure? What are people going to say when you say you have to focus on structure? They're going to say, is it that important? Surely things like backlinks and domain authority are more important for ranking well. So then I will write out key points that I want to cover. And again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these and see if they relate back to this subhead. Why you need to focus on structure. Google also takes consideration user engagement. Yeah, a well-optimized piece increases users' time on site and lowers bounce rate because it makes the piece more engaging and focused. Add statistic from resource A here. So that's the things that we had at the top. Structure is key in making the article focus on a single issue and a logical flow. Here's how you can improve your next blog article by focus. So that's the lead into the next piece. So are these pieces here related to why you need to focus on structure? It's addressing the question that people have and it's saying why structure is important. So yeah, they're all focused. Once you've done that with every subhead going down and all of the points underneath are very much related to the subhead, you will have a piece that is very focused from this like hierarchical approach to it. Because the core messages inform the subheads. The subheads have informed the points that you'll cover. So then that all comes together into that one message, gun fingers, apparently. But by doing this, by going 1, 2, 3, it makes sure that everything will tie back to that core message. So the headline promise that you'll be making to people will be delivered upon. If you're trying to write something very persuasively, it's going to be very focused. And you're not going to lose people's interest because you go off on a weird tangent. It's a super simple way of just mapping out headlines, subheads, points, 1, 2, 3 in that order. And once you've got something like this, you've pretty much got a plan of exactly what you should write. All I have to do then is if I want to write this, is I'm going to go like, this is where I would write the actual piece. If I ever get lost, I just look down and go, right, I've covered that, I can delete it. I haven't covered that yet, so that's the next bit. Make sense? But that's a way to keep your blog articles far more focused, on topic, and more engaging because People are clicking through to solve a specific problem because they're interested in the headline. If you deviate from that promise that you make, people are going to lose interest. They click through for A, give them A. By mapping this out as a simple headline and subheads related to headline, points related to subheads, you're guaranteeing that everything that you do is related to that core message. And when you go back and edit the whole piece, make sure that it all comes back to this core message. That's pretty much it. If there's anything in there that doesn't relate back to that core message, you get rid of it. And you edit around it so that then that flows without that piece in. It sounds simple, but the best things often are. Don't overcomplicate when you're writing. Keep it very simple, keep it very focused. Map out what you want to say, and then use that hierarchical sort of prioritization of headline, subheads, and then points. And as long as you're at every stage, you're doubling back to check if this relates to the point above it, you'll always make sure that you're going to stay on topic, on target, and write something that people enjoy reading, or rather that properly answers the problems they're having. That's pretty much it. You can get full access to this and a bunch of other free materials by clicking on the link in the description below. All you have to do is pop your email in, and then you get an email from me with a link to the Google Drive folder in it. That's it for today. I will speak to you soon. Have fun. Bye.